morning, everybody. How are you all doing? Sam here, United People's TV. It's Friday. Another week has gone. Lots to talk about, as there is every single morning. We're going to focus on Rasmus Hojlund, who, of course, is the transfer that all Manchester United fans would like to see happen sooner rather than later. Some developments yesterday. I'm going to run through all of them, as I do every single morning. We're also going to speak about David Beckham's interview with David Ornstein. Speaks about the Glazers. We will speak about Sofian Amrabat and the sort of developments there that have put a bit of, they've cooled it a little bit. I'll run through the Amrabat stuff later. Then we'll speak about player sales. We'll speak about Harry Kane. It's Friday, so it's map day. And it's been a busy old week. I've been knackered. It's been a tiring week. As I said, fair play to any international Reds, seriously. But having to do those two games and then be up bright and early for the morning show, yeah, it's been a big week. But who's down here from the community? What members are down here in the comments? Let's have a look. Kev Ryan, good morning to you. I just seen you just joined there as a member. My Don, never know where you're watching from, dude. We've got Bishal, we've got John Inguanti, we've got Stephen Reacts, we've got John, we've got Wayne, we've got Stu. How you doing, buddy? We've got Young, we've got Robert Blaze. How you doing? Ola Martin. So many new names here. Stephen, we've got Aya Ovi, Mark Davies, Ashley Ben, and I can see you there. Josh, no doubt you're there as well, my man. And all the regulars. Who's on Facebook? Barley's in the house. Morning, Chris. We've got Steve. We've got Sunday. We've got Benny John. I'm a potato. How you doing, man? Every time I read your name, you make me say I'm a potato. It's quite a smart username, really, when you think about it. But look, it's going to be a good show. It's going to be Friday vibesy. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you can. It does make a big, big difference. Oh, look at that. Let me pull this. There's a little bit of news coming there. I was wondering what's going on with that. Let me just pull that here. And then we can get the show started. How you all doing? Got any weekend plans? I've got my sister and my niece's birthday party tomorrow. Rocking. Absolutely rocking. But look, as much as I want to say that today is it's going to be a good show, we've unfortunately got to start on a bit of a bad note, really. Well, not a bit of a bad note. It is a bad note, right? The takeover of Manchester United. What is going on? Or what isn't going on is probably the easier answer. It's reached the point now with the takeover of Manchester United where the Glazers have weathered the angry storm so much that the storm has sort of semi-passed. I wouldn't say it's completely passed. Protests are planned. No doubt there's more anger coming, but it's nearly August. It's nearly August and we don't have any sort of clarity. What is it now? 5-6 weeks on from that fifth bid going in from Sheikh Jassim? It's a really sad state of affairs. Really, really is. But moving on from a sad point there, I can see everyone talking about it in the comments because it is the best community in the world. It is the most generous community in the world. And Danny and Ibrahim have welcomed another 10 members to the community. Legends of the game. How are you doing? Lovely to see you joining. But it never ceases to amaze me. I've told you this week, I've been working on the new membership levels. The price isn't increasing. It's going to be the exact same, but I'm going to be giving more into the levels. Working on the announcement video for that. Probably going to be announcing it towards the start of next week. It was supposed to be this week, but I'm a little bit late. Maybe 3 minutes late. But it's my way of saying thank you for making this community what it is and for me to give a little bit back. But big up to all of you. But speaking about the Glazers, I wanted to run through this. If anybody wants to read it, here's the link. David Ornstein slid into my DMs this morning. Had a little chat about Beckham. Me and Ornstein, best buds. We're not best buds at all. But he just slid into my DMs and asked if I could help promote. And I was like, yeah, go on in. Why not? I'd love to get David Ornstein on here at some point. That's like the gold standard. If I can get David Ornstein on the channel for an interview, that's what we're aiming for. But anyway, David Beckham, obviously in the spotlight because Inter Miami have signed Messi, who scored 3 goals in his first 2 games, I think, for the club. Messi just doing messy things. I think he's going to have a lot of fun out of the MLS. And he was speaking about the Glazers. And this is what David Beckham had to say about the Glazers. He said, look, United used to be we were top of the tree, winning everything. The ones who were successful, the ones where the players wanted to come. Luckily, we've still got that United pool that existed when I went there, but we want that back. And the sooner a decision can be made on the ownership, the better. He was asked directly, is it time for them to leave? He said, yeah, I think so. It's purely because of the fans. He said I think it's purely because the fans want it. I mean, that's the main driver, of course, but there is so many reasons why they need to leave. And he's saying once you lose the fans, especially at a club like United, it's hard to get them back. Obviously, the Glazers have achieved a lot in not doing much. And financially, yeah, I told you, like, their dad Malcolm got the golden egg. Man United have gone up in value in spite of the Glazers, not because of the Glazers, not because of the great work that they have done, not because of the money that they have invested, because they haven't invested any of it. They've just spent £1 billion of our club's money servicing their loan. There needs to be change, right? We all know that. That's coming from David Beckham. Not that that's going to change anything. Let's be totally honest. We've had protests. We've had games cancelled. We've had tons and tons of noise. It won't change anything, but it keeps the narrative up there, right? It keeps the narrative where it should be. Because I don't have any confidence really about anything to do with this takeover. Because when I look at the numbers and I match the numbers up financially, they have to sell from a business perspective. Man United as a brand will not go up in value significantly anymore unless there's massive capital investment. It's just not possible. And they don't have the money for that. And they haven't been able to find that money through minority investment. But I've just got no confidence about anything. I can't say, oh, we're done by next week. Oh, deal tomorrow. No, I'm not going to piss you off by leading with headlines like that, because it will just make you angry. It'll make me angry. The whole situation has. And you're sort of there's quite a few of you down there, man. And there's part of me that has that mentality now that maybe they're just not going to sell. And that's based more out of fear than rationality. Because from a rational perspective, when you look at all the numbers, when you look at everything, from a logic and rationale perspective, they need capital. That Man United need money and they don't have it. So that's the thing I always sort of hold on to. But there is the fear. There is the fear that they'll somehow find a way. I don't know. I can't tell you any news with regards to the takeover now with any sort of major confidence. I can't. Kev, how you doing, buddy, man? I just seen you joining a member. Now you're sending a super chat. Thank you so much. You're saying, just want to say thanks, and I enjoy the community and grateful for all the United content you provide. Absolute legend, Kev. Lovely to have you on board. I tell you what, it's been a serious week and it's been a serious summer so far here in United People's TV. I'm always proud of the content I do. I always make sure that the content I do, I will be proud of. Some I'm more proud of than others, like the videos I always did for the protests and stuff like that. But I like to think I cover the United news properly, and I'm glad to have you on board. And mate, this is pre-season. We haven't even kicked a ball in that. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to talking about football again. I'm looking forward to seeing how this United team gets on next year. And I tell you what, the more I research and the more I look into Rasmus Hojlund, I think the more excited I am about the idea of signing him. So what I'm going to do now is run through all the developments and updates that happened yesterday on Rasmus Hojlund and the situation we find ourselves in today. There's a super chat there. Let me read this one out. Ibrahim, how you doing? Another one, man. Thank you so much. Saying thanks. Thank you, Sam. Been watching you for over a year now. Your channel has helped me greatly overcome my mental health. Well, big up to you, Ibrahim. And well, big up for admitting that, first of all. And yeah, I think you all know how important I see male mental health. It's just a massive taboo. I always wanted to start a podcast on that, but I struggle for time, unfortunately. I always wanted to I don't know, just have like candid interviews, just normal chats with normal people, I suppose, about that. I always thought it would be a really good podcast to do because it always was considered a bit of a taboo, but it's good to see like that's why I was moved by that Dele Alli interview. Like, he didn't need to do that. He felt the reason he did that interview was because he's like, well, the tabloids are just going to make the wrong headlines out of this. So he got ahead of it and nailed it. Even though he said, I'm probably not in a position, I don't feel particularly ready to do this interview, but he did it. Brave and makes an impact. I told you when I did that video a while ago, just before I was about to go in for surgery, I had hundreds of emails and comments and replies and just from all people all around the world in different sorts of parts of life who were impacted by it in a positive way. Because that's why I did it. I did it for two reasons. One, to help myself, sort of draw a line under it. And number two, I think I could help others. And it did. And it was wicked. But let's talk about this man here, right? And the developments that happened yesterday. Because Rasmus Hojlund is, well, he is our not our number one, our number two striker target. We know who our number one target is. But this is what happened yesterday. This happened right towards the end of our live show, didn't it? David Ornstein, my new best mate. He's not my new best mate. He reported that PSG had made a 50 million euro bid for Rasmus Hojlund, which was a bit of a weird one because only the day before, David Ornstein had reported that we had submitted a verbal offer of 60 million, so 10 million more, but it was verbal, not written. Fabrizio Romano sort of corroborated that, saying, look, 50 million euros bid. It's actually L'Equipe, French newspaper, who stated that first. But then, and this is the murky game of football transfer journalism, right? Who's reliable is the thing that gets just, I don't know, if you see a source anyway, it's like, how reliable is he? What's he done? And I've been speaking about Alfredo Padula so far this summer because his information on the Onana situation was pretty accurate, kind of the whole way through. So I think he sort of earned his stripes. But this is where he gets, as this is what I mean, it gets a bit weird. Not weird, but it just murky. I don't know the right way to describe it. On the one hand, you've got David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, who are considered the two, I suppose, head honchos. if football transfer journalists were a gang, David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano would be the two the two godfathers, right? And then you got Alfredo Padula, who has gone completely the opposite and said, no, there is no bid from PSG for Hojlund. So then you're sat here going, well, who am I listening to? Am I listening to David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano there? Am I listening to Alfredo Padula? And then you have to like choose which camp you're in, choose who you're trusting. And it's what makes it such a difficult industry, I suppose. But Alfredo Padula, who I said that I've given a bit of credit to because of what he was saying on the Onana situation, is now saying something totally opposite to what David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano are reporting. I found that bit quite interesting. Going down here, I think someone else has been generous this morning. I think someone has. One sec, down there. Yeah, man. Boz. Is that Boz or Baz? Boz, you just gifted 5 memberships. Let me read out the 5 names who were lucky enough to get given one by you. Ramen, love noodles. Suya, Samantha B, Ebifemi, and MC. You are the lucky 5. Welcome to the community. And look, what there can't be another. I mean, there can be, and there probably is, but there can't be another community in the world that's as generous as this. I refuse to believe it. What we're saying down there? Anthony Ornstein and Fab for global football, Padula for Italy. But that's what I mean, that you've got contrasting reports here. And this is what leads to confusion. This is what leads to frustration among not just football fans, not just United fans, but football fans in general when it comes to reporting on transfers. It's why I'd never in a million years ever, even if I get told some information sometimes, but there's no way that I'm going, it's not worth it. Trying to be like first to a bit of news is great when it works. When it doesn't work, you are cast to the side now, man. Sod that shit. Martin is saying you should try and get Fabrizio and David on this channel. Maybe Alfredo. Get a full gang. Have a little round table of transfers. Fabrizio's came on back in the day. That was when I was out in Ghana. But look, let me show you what else has developed on top of that with the Hojlund situation, because this I found quite interesting, right? So you've got the bids here from PSG, or apparently not from PSG, depending on who you want to trust. But yesterday, at the exact same time, there was a swathe of reports that came out in the British press from the BBC. Man United are hopeful of sealing that deal. And the Telegraph, Man United want that deal done. All of these were reported at the same time yesterday. 12 o'clock. Go down here. Let's have a look. 12 o'clock. So this is coming from Manchester United. It's the Chris Wheeler from the Daily Mail as well. 12 o'clock. You can watch it and the times when they release everything. So the BBC, the Telegraph, the Guardian, and the Daily Mail, all at the same time, saying, well, clearly their sources are coming from the club directly. I think that's a pretty fair assumption that we can make here, saying that Manchester United want that deal done before the Premier League season. And I mean, why not? It should be done by next week. Ideally done by next Thursday, because I'm not here for a few days. Come on, United. Do me a good one. But let's read through what James Ducker from the Telegraph is saying, because it's all represented in basically every article there. United are confident that they can fulfill Rasmus Hojlund's full potential. Sorry, that Ten Hag can fulfill his full potential. Talks with Atalanta are continuing. United quietly optimistic they can strike a deal and have him in the squad for the Wolves game. That 60 million euro package is what we know about. That's what David Ornstein reported yesterday as well. 42.8 million payable up front for the 8.6 million in add-ons. Atalanta want more, but we spoke about this and we spoke about what we thought that there would be a compromise, and there will be a compromise. Now, the good thing here, separate to that, well, kind of not separate. This is what Fabrizio Romano is saying, sorry, on it. More talks are set for today. All right. So maybe we'll get the here we go this weekend. Suya, you're saying, have Atalanta rejected the verbal bid? There's been no conversation around rejected bids. Other than the fact that PSG's bid, let's be totally honest, is just going to get rejected out of hand. It's 10 million less than ours. What I want to ask you a question, right? Because I think this is a good question. Why would PSG put that bid in? Seriously. They know full well that United, they know full well that Hojlund wants United. They know full well that our bid is 10 million more than that. So what's the purpose of them putting in a 50 million euro offer? I mean, what do they stand to gain from that? A player who doesn't want to join them and a bid that's lower than another club who's trying to sign him. You're obviously not going to get the player. It's a weird one. Let me see what you're saying in the comments. Matt, you're saying it's a bit of media hype. TJ, you're saying it's to piss us off, to rile the Glazers. And because they secretly plan to bench Mbappe for agreeing to... I reckon Mbappe has done something like that. If he's turning down that contract offer from Saudi Arabia, where it's like 1 year contract and you can become a billionaire and then you can just join Madrid, and he's turning that down, then something must already be signed. Ibuka, maybe better payment terms. Yeah, maybe, but it's still a weird one. I think it's really strange for them to, if they went in at the same level of Manchester United, 60 million euros, then I'll be like, cool, right, okay, this is they're serious about this. But 10 million lower? Maybe it's the fact that they went in with a formal offer first, written. It's an odd one. It's a really odd one, because as Fabrizio Romano repeats and repeats and repeats, right? Hojlund wants Man United, which is a big part of this, man. I think we've spoken about it before. I've spoken about it a million times. It's important to have players at our football club who want to be a Manchester United player. We've witnessed mercenaries now. We've seen them. Alexis Sanchez and Angel Di Maria, probably the two immediate ones that pop into my mind. They didn't join the club because they wanted to be a United player. They were joining the club, especially Alexis Sanchez, because the money offer was bigger. The fact that Hojlund wants to join us is it's not significant, but it's a really important factor, in my opinion, as to what makes a right signing. It's part of the profiling of a player. And Hojlund wants it. He wants to work with Erik Ten Hag. He wants Manchester United. And that's it all helps the deal be pushed through. We got the here we go yesterday from Fabrizio Romano on Hojlund's replacement at Atalanta. El Bilal Toure, who they're signing from Almeria, I think. €28 million. It's going to be a club record fee. They've already got their replacement lined up. Hojlund wants Man United and nobody else. And PSG's bid is lower than ours. And all of this leads to confidence from Manchester United that will get that deal done. Jonathan's a kind of a good question there. He's saying, are United taking their time to see what goes on with Kane? I'll speak about Kane in about 10, 15 minutes or so. A conversation update that we need to have around Kane, and we can speak about that in the comments. Let me see what else you're all saying. I love reading your comments out, honestly. And this is, can I say here quickly, a big shout out to all the mods on YouTube. I'm not going to name any because there's too many of you, but all of you help make this chat what it is. Like an inviting place where people can actually leave comments and interact and actually ask questions rather than the place where people just come and shout and troll, which is about 95% of the internet. So we're in the good 5%. I think so anyway. Jibak, you just sent a super chat. Let me read this out. Quite possible it's a rumor started by Atalanta to make United nervous and drive the price up. Yeah, I mean, possibly, but this is coming from L'Equipe in France. So for Atalanta to have that sort of level of control over the French press would be extremely surprising. This is coming more from the French side. We've seen United be used like that now, like a pawn in the past. Maybe it's PSG, maybe it is, but I personally disagree with that. I personally don't think that would be the case. But Hojlund, everything points towards this lad joining Manchester United. Let's just find out if that first bid gets rejected. We haven't got confirmation of that. And if it does, what we're going to do. How long is it going to take us to go back in for that second bid? Because it's being reported from everywhere that United want him in for the start of the Premier League. And if you want him in for the start of the Premier League, give him a week to settle. So hopefully by this time next week, we've got the Hojlund. Here we go. And maybe we can have Hojlund holding a shirt up. Because if we're playing Wolves on the 14th, that's a Monday, get him in the Monday before. Give him 7 days to settle in a new country, a new home, a new club, new surroundings, new everything. It's going to take time to adjust, let alone getting used to training and everything that goes on there. Now, something I've got coming up today, which I think you'll enjoy. I hope you enjoy. I did this video yesterday. I really, really like that. Big up to Steve, by the way, for helping make this happen. I'm going to be doing more of these across the course of the season because I think it's really important content. It's not just, I don't know, loud, shouty content. It's not really opinion-based content. It's more tactical analysis. Took a look at Onana's performance, his debut against Real Madrid, and we assessed his distribution and showed you all the in-game examples. Did that on Andre Onana. Going to be doing one today on Rasmus Hojlund. It's a big one. This one is huge. It's by far and away the most in-depth analysis video that we've ever done here on United People's TV. It looks at absolutely every aspect of his game. What's he good at? What are his strengths? Show me some in-game examples. We've got that on Hojlund for all of his strengths and all of his weaknesses. That's going out at lunchtime today. All right. So make sure, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed that Onana one. That one there is going to be a good one. A really, really, a big up to Steve, by the way. Everyone say thank you very much, Steve, for helping with the research on that, because I wouldn't be able to bring these videos to you if Steve didn't help me. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments, eh? Look at that. Abby, you're saying, what about Amrabat to Manchester United? I'll be speaking about that in a sec. Mazid, you're saying we need Onana and Mount emojis. Well, we need to get more members in because YouTube limits how many custom emojis you're allowed according to how many members you have, which is why I made 30. It was a maximum I could do. So for me to make Mount and Onana emojis, I'd have to delete some of the other ones, which I don't want to do. So once we can add new ones, I'll bring them to you and I'll add new ones in the whole way through. But let's speak about this one. It's the second. If United are going to make 2 more signings this summer, it's going to be Hojlund and Amrabat, ideally. And the Amrabat situation is, I did a full story on the Amrabat developments early this week. Covered it the whole way through to the point where there were reports suggesting that personal terms are being agreed. And then a separate report, and we spoke about this yesterday, a separate report came from, it wasn't from Alfredo Padula, he was pushing somebody else's report from Italy, saying that Manchester United had submitted a €35 million offer for Amrabat, and he was like on the verge of joining Manchester United. Now, conversely, this is what David Ornstein is saying on that situation. He goes, look, Amrabat is one that United are looking at. They're aware of him, but I don't think it's moved to the degree that some reports suggest. I'm not aware that a deal is nearly done or agreed. It's one that could be acted upon if there are departures, which is pretty much what Fabrizio Romano has been saying the whole way through, right? This is what he's saying here. There's still nothing concrete regarding Amrabat. Still no offer to Fiorentina. His side has spoken with United. He's on the list, but United need to sell players. So I think what I would say here is calm down. Ugh. Delete that. Oh, there's Scouse accent on here. That wasn't even a Scouse accent. It was like a mouse. Anyway, got distracted there. The Amrabat situation, he's not on the verge of joining. It's all very much linked to player sales. And we're going to be speaking about player sales next, because that's I think the signing of Amrabat does heavily rely on players leaving and the books being balanced in that sense. Who's there joining as a member? Fernando Perez the third. Oh, look at that. You know, someone's important when they got the third in. Big up to you, my friend. Let me know where you're watching from. I'll try and give you a shout out. Sonny is saying we need to sign Hojlund fast. I hope so. But yeah, the Amrabat, I'm not just saying this as a consequence of that game that we had the other day with Eriksen against Real Madrid. Amrabat is needed inside our squad for depth. We need it. There will be games where Casemiro isn't perfect for it. Maybe Casemiro is perfect for every game, but hell, he can't play every game. The game again is moving very fast and rapid, isn't it? Casemiro's what, 31? He's no spring chicken. There will be a need for Amrabat in certain games, certain situations. Let's find out how that develops. But what I would say here is that don't expect to hear we go on that anytime soon. Let's focus on players being sold first. And let's run through a couple of these points before we then speak about Harry Kane. As I said, we're going to speak about Harry Kane this morning. Will Fish, he's gone back on loan. I believe he went on loan to Hibs last season, didn't he? But he's gone back on loan there. Did I put him on the board? Oh, look at that. I did it yesterday. What a man. Yes, I'm giving myself credit. But Will Fish has left. Good luck to him back at Hibs. That's just another loan deal. We're not going to get any money for that, but it's just good to see youngsters going out and getting genuine loans. The updates on the sales that we want to happen. Forest are still absolutely locked in talks over Dean Henderson. That's the big one. Well, I say it's the big one. It's not the biggest one. Maguire's the biggest one, right? But Henderson is the one that we know is going to go through. It was Elanga and Henderson were the two pretty much guarantees that were going to happen. And Dharmesh Sheth from Sky Sports here saying, look, West Ham, they're still in talks over Maguire. Remember that, was it last week? Reports came out that they chanced like a loan request, and United were like, God, really? Nah, no chance. You're not getting that. So they're still in talks over Maguire. I think if Maguire was to be sold on a permanent basis, you're looking at somewhere between 30 to 40 million. You might disagree with it, but that's his value in the market, in my opinion anyway. But they're still in talks over a move. And the same goes for Scott McTominay. But we saw this week that Manchester United have put a big price tag on Scott McTominay. And I think if I'm looking at Fred, McTominay and Van der Beek, I think McTominay is the one that I would prefer that United kept. Out of those three, anyway. I think he can serve a purpose in this squad, but if we get a good amount of money for him, then we should be letting him leave and playing first team football, maybe going to West Ham to try and replace a little bit of what Declan Rice offered there. But on top of that, we've also got Galatasaray pushing for Fred. This is what Dharmesh Sheth is saying on this. They're pushing to sign him with initial talks, highlighting that gap in valuation. Fulham have also shown interest, but aren't happy with the price quoted. And this is pretty much to do with the fact that Fred is, if I remember, he's 30 and he's got 1 year left on his deal. So anybody trying to sign Fred, they're trying to chance it. They're trying to get a low ball offer accepted. Fred is worth somewhere in the region of 10 to 20 million pounds. Fred would be a good signing for at least 50% of Premier League clubs. At least. In my opinion. Again, my opinion. But I don't know what I think I've seen mad valuations and offers of like somewhere of like 8 million for Fred, which is just disrespectful, really. But Fred, you've got Maguire, you've got Wilfish, you've got McTominay, you've got Henderson. I think one of these or all of these need to happen before we start having a conversation about this man. It seems like United have got him lined up, saying like, right, okay, if we get we do all this properly, then let's go and get Amrabat. But I don't think it's going to happen the other way around. Although technically, if you've got, and maybe it's United's lack of confidence in themselves of getting the right price for selling players. Because if you did have confidence in yourself as a football club, you go, yeah, we'll be able to sell those players. Then you could just get Amrabat in now, wouldn't you? You wouldn't need to sell first to bring someone in because the accounts don't go in until a while away. So it would all balance itself out. Don't know. Maybe it's a show of United's lack of confidence in themselves for getting the right money for player sales. KV saying where we're up to with Henderson. All we know, they're locked in conversations. The last I've seen on Henderson is that it might be a loan deal with an obligation to buy. So instead of Nottingham Forest putting the money in the books this summer, it will get put in the books next summer, which wouldn't help United's accounts this summer, though. Again, when you think about it. Gul, you're saying Ericsson should just be FA Cup and League Cup or a sub player. Ericsson will be a sub player next. The time where we need to use Christian Eriksen is the last 20 to 30 minutes of games when we either are trying to lock it down and control a game, which is perfect for, or also perfect for, number two, is we got a deep sit in defense and you need someone like Eriksen to unlock it with a fantastic pass. In those two situations, perfect for Christian Eriksen. Starting in the midfield up against Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Bellingham. Yeah, no. The game's a bit too fast for Eriksen in that sense. The game's a little bit too fast. Sam, you don't know anything. Keep Scott and forget winning the Prem. Well, nice to see Caesar's a United fan down in the comments. Always enjoy a good troll, man. Because trolls must just have nothing better to do with their life than to try and drag someone else down. And there's plenty of them. What else are you saying down in the comments? We need to let Maguire go for a free, says Free Goal. Well, that's not going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen. God's Power, you're saying, aside from Hojlund and Amrabat, will there be possibly any more signings? I'd be surprised. But there's obviously one signing that we would love to make. Now, just let me dream, right? Let me have this, right? Let me have this conversation for like 3 minutes before I realize that it's never going to happen in a million years. But United, could be selling players, could be getting in 20 million for Dean Henderson, thereabouts. Same money for, I don't know, over 100 million for all the players that we're going to be selling. And maybe we're just going to sit there and just wait and wait and wait and wait for Bayern Munich to agree a deal with Spurs for Harry Kane. And then we come in over the top, just like we did with the Taro Malacia situation, slap on another couple of million, make Spurs look towards us and go, wow, okay. Because you know full well who Harry Kane is choosing out of those two. It's not even a debate. And I'm not saying that as a United fan. Kane would choose United over Bayern Munich in a heartbeat. And the point that James Zucker is trying to make here is like, why aren't United going all out and doing everything within their power to sign Harry Kane? Because he would be that sort of Jude Bellingham level signing that Real Madrid made. The sort of signings that United did used to make. And I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, I think United did logically the right thing. Went early, went to Spurs. We want Kane. You're going to sell him? No. Are you sure you're not? No. Definitely not? No. So they rejected any sort of approach. And United at that point said, you know what? We can't get involved. We can't get stuck in these conversations and get left empty-handed. We're going to have to move on. Mainly you're saying Spurs don't want us to sell Kane, so don't push. And I think that's what United have done. But maybe United are just going to sit there now and wait for Bayern Munich to agree that deal and then maybe come back in. Let yourselves dream. Nah, don't. You just get hurt. It's the hope that kills you. I don't think it will happen, but I like the idea of it. I really do like the idea of it. Let me see what you're saying down here. Sam, my concern with Kane is who you're going to buy in to play second fiddle to him as happening. But I don't care about any problems with Kane. Like, Kane is the signing. You can talk to me about his age if you want. You can talk to me about how much you're paying for a 30-year-old if you want. You can talk to me about his injury problems that previously existed if you want. But it's all completely irrelevant. It's like Van Persie and some. I know Van Persie ultimately bagged the title for us because was it 30 goals he scored that season? I think it was. But Harry Kane is... Van Persie did that for one season before Fergie left. Had Fergie stayed, I imagine Van Persie would have replicated that in the next season. Maybe not 30 goals, but I think Van Persie would have been equally as effective. Kane, you are looking at 3-4 years of like top level, guaranteed 20, 25 Premier League goals a season without even blinking. He is the signing, but I just don't think it will happen because Spurs are stubborn. And sometimes with certain stubborn people, certain stubborn clubs, you just can't win. That's why they're stubborn. Literally stubborn as a mule. Matt, you're talking about Van Persie's goal against Villa. Whew. Gio, you're saying Van Persie was a once-in-a-generation player. Kane is a top player, but nowhere near Van Persie. Come on. I love Van Persie. Trust me. And I'm not going to get into an argument because this is what people love to do. It's like making an argument out of nothing. Now I'm arguing about a player who was at his peak 10 years ago against a player now. Like, it's weird, but Harry Kane is probably the greatest striker. Once his career is done, he's probably going to be considered the greatest striker in Premier League history. Dude is so clinical. It's unbelievable. Now, you might disagree with that. Well, who's it? Is it Shearer's at the top of it at the moment? He's in that conversation at the very... I suppose Van Persie is as well. So's Drogba. So's Rooney. So's Ruud van Nistelrooy. Man, Premier League's had some cracking strikers. But Harry Kane is that guy. I'd love us to sign him. I just don't really think it will happen. I just love the idea in my head. I told you that's why it's a pipe dream. I love the idea in my head that United will just sit there, wait for Bayern Munich to agree a deal and just come in over the top with 5 million on top. Henry, there you go. Man, we don't need to get in that debate. Jeez, when you get into this debate, it is an impossible situation, an impossible question to answer because everybody's got their own opinion. Sam's talking shit. Kane is average. Cool. But he's not. You know full well he's not. Everybody knows he's not average. But I don't know. I don't think we'll sign him. I think we will sign this lad right here. And everything is pointing towards the fact that Manchester United will be signing Rasmus Hojlund. It's all about the compromise. What I would say is, I said it yesterday, don't be worried about this interest from PSG. It's weird. It doesn't mean much to me. Right, last few minutes of the show. I'm going to shorten this show because I've got that big Hojlund profile video to prepare. That's coming up next. I can't tell you the size. You know that video we did yesterday on Andre Onana? Times it by about 5 times as detailed as that. 4 or 5 times as detailed. It's a serious one. It will tell you every single aspect of Hojlund's game, all the strengths and weaknesses. But look, you know what today is. I can see you down there in the comments, everyone. No, don't worry about that. I've always got the tab open. The map is here, right? Today is map day, so let me know where you're watching from, the town and the country, and we'll get a few of you added on to the famous United People's TV community map. Last few countries, what have we got covered? We've got Sweden, France, Switzerland, Denmark, USA, Greece, UK, Argentina, Zimbabwe, Liberia, Cyprus, Morocco, Canada, Puerto Rico. Man, it's awesome. It's the best thing in the world, this map. It really is. Look at that, Chris. I don't think we've got anybody on it from Guernsey. What's the accent in Guernsey? Imagine it's West Country. Guernsey. That wasn't West Country. Right. On you go. Welcome aboard, sir. Who else we got down here? Oh, Diego, you're watching from Sao Paulo. I don't think there's not many Reds who tune in from Brazil. On you go, sir. We haven't actually had anybody from, what's that? What is that? Oh, no, it's still Brazil. Man, Brazil's huge. Damn. Brazil is massive. Nick, you saying no quiz today? Unfortunately not. It's been a mad week, this one. It really has been a mad week, and I haven't had time to prepare that quiz. I know, shocking, disgusting behavior from me. Let's get more. One more down here. There's so many of you watching. It's awesome. I wish you could see the comments here. We've got Elm watching from Ohio, USA. And we'll get one more in because so many of you are firing in your comments. I think you deserve it. Let me close my eyes on this one. We'll go for this one here. We've got Adrian watching from Joburg in South Africa. Now, Joburg's definitely already on the map, but you are welcome aboard. And let's get one more in here. Melbourne's definitely on the map. Oh, look at that. Good loony boy. Watching from Cordoba in Kuwait. I don't think we've got many Reds who have watched from Kuwait. Cordoba. It's a big old address. Welcome aboard from man, look at that. So today we've added Kuwait, USA, Brazil, and Guernsey onto the map. It really is Reds all around the world. But look, another fantastic week, if I do say so myself. A busy week. I'm still tired from covering it. And 2 losses as well. Imagine that. Got all up at 3:30 in one day. Look, I won't complain about it because Reds all around the world do it constantly, and you'll be doing it all season in the Premier League. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm not planning to go live tomorrow, but if some news breaks that's worth covering, then I will go live tomorrow, as I always do. I look at it as a super chat there from Daniel. Let me read this bad boy up. What you're saying is, I'm Sam from America, up early for a flight to LA for my bachelor party. Not LA, Vegas. Well, you're going to Vegas for a stag do. Can everybody just say goodbye, Daniel? I hope you've enjoyed yourself. Because you ain't coming back to... You're not coming back the same man. You are not coming back the same man. Kev, you just gifted 1 membership as well. Absolute heroes. Enjoy that. Man, there's no way I'd survive a stag do in Vegas. Absolutely not. Big up to all of you. Best community in the world. Make sure you check out the Hojlund profile video. That's going out. I'll be doing my starting 11 for the Dortmund game. That's going out tomorrow. And have a cracking weekend. Much love.